doing this so the birds, when they saw the folks in the crane costumes, they identified them as part of the family, so they dropped down straight at them. And of course, they were offering food with their costumes, with the little beaks, and cranes are hungry after 70 miles this morning, so they immediately dropped right into the center of the pan. And there he is, that's Joe Duff landing his ultralight. I guess it was a change of plans this year to land the craft over there. Didn't know about that one. Just confirmed, the leak is water.
Yeah.
And that's an example of why we asked you not to smoke when you came in here this morning. Well, there's Joe.
I thought that was Richard. They switched aircraft. See, that's what happens. It's Joe at the end.
I thought they had the
Give him a bluff. Awesome job. So this is Richard, actually, not Joe. Richard Van Hoogland.
Give that man a cup of hot coffee.
Stretch those legs. Frozen legs.
Yeah, I gotta be back there. I gotta be back there in an hour. Because I gotta supposed to come along and drive me to you got something to do.
See, that was his third outfit. You wouldn't let her come. Okay? White is a little bit red. It's not that warm.
Oh, that's better, Richard. I thought you got fat.
Hey, Richard, you're wearing more than I am.
He's coming.
Somebody bringing him.
Must be fun having his old watches get changed.
Absolutely.
It's got to be cold up there.
You need to freshen up a little before getting you up here?
We'll wait for Joe.
Okay, we'll wait for Joey. In the meantime, there's a porta potty over there.
All the way from Wisconsin.
So you've been from the beginning.
Yeah.
And how many different flights have you taken? Not necessarily, from one spot to another, but how many
Oh, this is our 11th. Well, it's our 10th flock of whooping cranes. We know that it's one to follow you. For some reason, either got above me and below me out of my sight. And being so close to destiny really was destination.
What are some of the biggest things that you've chased throughout the time that you've taken from where they need to go?
Hey. Well, it was a little bit. It worked out. Yeah, maybe it was all the way over there. Or she released it. Oh, well, the flight comes along.
donkey that was coming across that field? One nothing. No, very good.
Next year I plan ahead and bring my real camera.
This year was kind of a bit different. I've covered this. Almost all of it. A bit different. Weather conditions and whatnot. It's the biggest change for you as a pilot this year compared to other years. I mean, I know we went for like a month this year being grounded. Was that, I think, primarily because of the holidays?
What they do is they imprint the flyaway on those airplanes and artificial noise or whatever. Otherwise, they will follow the model.
And I wonder why the mother didn't do that. But I mean now. And they get them freights where with the mother they get the this way they're protected.
Well, Rick was coming up here. He is Van Hoofman and Joyce Clean from Chatsworth-Wichita. She's the biologist at Chatsworth-Wichita. Anyway, today was a long flight. It was my turn to lead. I think Richard's pleased it was my turn to lead because we took off this morning. It was kind of trashy down low, and we had a headwind down low. So we were flying along at about 38 miles an hour, but at one point I was down to 21 miles an hour. And because of the sun, the thermal activity was bouncing the wing, and it was hard to get them up. And you'd climb up, and they'd drop down again, and climb up and drop down. And eventually we got them on the wing and got them up to altitude. And then 2 or 3 times they would just drop and start to go down. So you'd chase them down and get back in that rough air. And then at one point, one bird went down, and I didn't see him go down. I thought he was above the wing, and I looked, he was way down there. And so Richard moved in to get him, and he was right below me, like right underneath. And the problem Richard has, of course, is that if he gets too close, all the birds will go down. And then now he's got all the birds down in that trashy air. So he did a great job of following in behind, and then finally the bird saw him and turned towards him, and he picked the bird up. And then, of course, Richard can tell the rest of that story. How high'd you get?
It got on the wing pretty quick, and I headed a little bit west to make sure I didn't distract Joe's birds, which at that time were much higher than me, and they tend to want to go to the lower trike. So But I did a pretty rapid climb, and pretty soon I was higher than Joe and quite a ways to the west, and I was able to pull the bar in, and bird just got towed along.
When you have one bird on the wing, it's kind of like they lock right into the and you almost roll the airplane. They'll stay with you. You know, it's amazing. When you have the long string, it's the ones in the back you have to wait for. You know, and that pull you down. So Richard was able to climb quite a bit higher, and he got into better tailwinds or less headwind. What was your speed? What was the highest speed?
47 at one point.
Yeah, well, he was doing 47. I'm doing 31. But anyway, towards the down low here, it was getting really trashy, but the birds all seemed to follow. And once we got into the heavy trash, like back into the really bouncing, where your head was hitting the top of and you're pulling on the seatbelt, then the birds all of a sudden decided to pay attention. I think they realized they pushed you as far as they could push you, and you're going to start throwing rocks at them. So they start to all of a sudden pay attention, and it seemed to work out. So as you saw, well, they were pretty close around here. And I want to apologize to the gentleman who flies the Piper Cub, the yellow Piper Cub, because he was coming this way and I was going the other way, and I talked to him on the radio, and his radio wasn't working very well. I could hear him barely, but I would like to apologize. I cut him off. That's my fault. I'm going to blame it on the birds, though. So if he's here, if he's not here, I'll go find him and apologize. But that's poor airport etiquette.
How fast can the birds fly?
The birds can fly well, today, not more than 38. Usually, when we first take off, they're very slow, and they're flying around 36. And then once you get a bit of altitude, they speed up a little bit and get them going around 38. Depends on how smooth the vortices is off the trike. If you get nice smooth air, they can get sucked along. You know, it's like slipstreaming a truck on the highway. You get in behind it, and you can back off the gas and lighten up on your fuel consumption and just coast in behind it. Well, birds do the same thing. Problem is, then they decide they're going to pass you and challenge you, and you get that happening too. So, yeah, that's right. Anyway, it's great to be here. Thank you all for turning out. I know it was cold this morning and not a pleasant day to get out here. Excuse me. But we really appreciate everybody showing up, and we also appreciate the Dunnellon Airport people for their help in allowing us to walk around. Normally this area is all closed to the public, and it's only pilots and aircraft owners in here. So you're really privileged to get in here. We really appreciate the Dunnellon Airport for allowing that. So please don't carve your name on any of these nice airplanes. Yes, you got a question? Well, we don't travel miles in a fuel tank in an airplane. You gauge it by time. Because if you're heading against a headwind, you're going to be going a lot slower. If you got a tailwind, you go a lot further. And so we base it on time, and it's about 3.5 hours. And we did well. That depends on the fuel. You know how much fuel you're using. If you're climbing and using a lot of throttle, we've got about 3.5 hours worth of fuel in it. So we've got plenty left. You can see. Well, maybe not quite another hour and a half, but maybe an hour.